High Admiral Vexthor stood before the Galactic Dominion's Grand Council, his scaled lips curling into what passed for a smile among his species. Behind him, a holographic display showed Earth's most advanced fighter jets performing maneuvers during a recent airshow. The assembled alien dignitaries, representing over 300 spacefaring civilizations, erupted in barely contained laughter. These, Vexthor gestured dismissively at the display, are what the humans consider their ultimate defensive weapons. Primitive combustion engines pushing metal tubes through their atmosphere. They call them fighter jets. Another wave of laughter rippled through the chamber. In a secure bunker beneath the Rocky Mountains, General Maya Rodriguez watched the broadcast with stone-faced silence. Around her, the Joint Chiefs of Earth Defense Force maintained similar composure, though their jaws clenched and unclenched rhythmically. The Dominion's propaganda broadcasts were being beamed across every communication channel on Earth, a show of technological superiority meant to demoralize humanity before the invasion began. "Let them laugh," Rodriguez muttered, her dark eyes reflecting the holographic display. "They've only seen what we wanted them to see." She turned to her chief scientist, Dr. James Chen, who nodded almost imperceptibly. The Dominion had made their first mistake when they assumed Earth's public military displays represented the full extent of human technological achievement. Their second mistake was broadcasting their mockery to every corner of the planet, unified humanity like never before. But their fatal error was giving Earth time to prepare. Deep beneath the Nevada desert, in a facility that officially didn't exist, Dr. Sarah Chen, James's daughter, stood before her life's work. The hangar stretched for miles, holding dozens of aircraft unlike anything the public had ever seen. They were the product of Project Prometheus, 15 years of reverse engineering crashed alien craft, combined with humanity's unique talent for innovation. "Run the final diagnostics," Sarah commanded, her voice echoing through the cavernous space. Teams of engineers swarmed around the sleek vessels, their shapes defying conventional aerodynamic principles. These weren't the clunky jets Vexthor had mocked. These were something new, hybrid craft combining human ingenuity with recovered alien technology. The first prototype, designated Phoenix 1, incorporated a gravity manipulation drive reverse-engineered from a crashed Dominion scout ship. But unlike the original, Sarah's team had improved the efficiency by 300%. The weapons systems utilized plasma containment principles that the Dominion considered impossible for primitive species to grasp. Above ground, the world continued its business as usual. The Dominion ships held position at the edge of the solar system, their presence a constant reminder of humanity's supposed insignificance. They expected fear. They expected submission. They expected a primitive species to cower before their technological superiority. What they didn't expect was Dr. Chen's latest breakthrough. "The quantum entanglement drive is stable," Sarah announced, reading the diagnostic results. "The artificial intelligence matrix is fully integrated, and the adaptive shielding is responding faster than projected." She allowed herself a small smile, the first in months. General Rodriguez's voice came through the secure comm channel. "How soon can they fly?" Sarah looked up at Phoenix 1, its surface seeming to shift colors as the adaptive camouflage system cycled through calibration tests. "They're ready now. All 37 units are combat-capable. We've solved the atmospheric transition problems, and the neural interface systems are functioning at optimal levels." "Good," Rodriguez replied, "because our long-range sensors just picked up movement. The Dominion fleet is mobilizing. Looks like Admiral Vexthor is tired of waiting." Sarah's team snapped into action, years of drills and preparation becoming reality. As pilots were called to their stations, she caught glimpses of determination on every face. These weren't the demoralized humans the Dominion expected to find. In orbit, Vexthor's flagship led the advance toward Earth. His intelligence officers had analyzed every aspect of human military capability, or so they thought. Their reports painted a picture of a species barely capable of reaching their own moon. still reliant on chemical rockets and primitive radar systems. They had no way of knowing that Earth's apparent technological stagnation had been an elaborate deception. While humanity publicly struggled with basic spaceflight, secret facilities around the world had been reverse engineering and improving upon every piece of alien technology they could salvage. As the Dominion fleet approached, Sarah made her way to the command center. The massive screens showed the enemy ships entering optimal engagement range. Nearly 100 vessels, each capable of destroying a small country, arranged in textbook invasion formation. "They're broadcasting again," one of the communications officers announced. Admiral Vexthor's image appeared on the main screen, his expression smug. "People of Earth," he began, "your primitive defenses are no match for the Dominion's might. Surrender now, and we will be merciful in our governance of your world." General Rodriguez looked at Sarah, who nodded once. The time for deception was over. "Launch the Phoenix Squadron," Rodriguez ordered. "Let's show the Dominion what human ingenuity really looks like." The underground hangar erupted into controlled chaos as pilots rushed to their vessels. Through the organized frenzy, Dr. Sarah Chen conducted final systems checks from her central command station. Each Phoenix craft represented a perfect fusion of human innovation and reverse-engineered alien technology, but they had never been tested in actual combat. Captain Marcus Torres approached his assigned craft, Phoenix 7, with practiced calm. As the squadron leader, he knew his team was watching. The neural interface helmet in his hands represented years of development, technology that would link his mind directly with his aircraft's AI system. "Remember," Sarah's voice came through the comm as pilots began their pre-flight sequences, "the quantum drives operate differently than anything you've trained with before. Trust your instincts and let the neural interface do its job." In orbit, Admiral Vexthor watched Earth's apparent inaction with growing satisfaction. His sensors showed only the expected human military response. Primitive jets scrambling from bases around the globe, satellite systems tracking his fleet's movement. Everything was proceeding according to intelligence estimates. "Sir," his second-in-command reported, "the humans are making no attempt to evacuate their major cities. Their response seems limited." Vexthor's facial scales rippled in amusement. "As expected, they know resistance is futile. Begin the first phase of the invasion. Target their primary military installations." The Dominion fleet moved into attack formation, their weapons charging. On Earth, General Rodriguez watched the enemy ships positioning themselves exactly where they wanted them. "All Phoenix units, report status," she commanded. "Phoenix Squadron, ready for launch," Torres responded, his voice steady despite the gravity of the moment. The neural interface hummed to life, connecting his consciousness with his craft's eye. The sensation was still strange, like gaining an extra set of senses. Sarah monitored the launch sequence from her station. Quantum drive stable. Adaptive shielding at full capacity. Weapon systems online. She paused, looking at Rodriguez. "We're ready." Rodriguez nodded. "Launch." The hangar's massive underground doors slid open, revealing the night sky above. One by one, the Phoenix craft ignited their quantum drives. There was no thunderous roar of conventional engines, no bright exhaust flares, just a subtle distortion of the air as they rose silently into the darkness. In orbit, Vexthor's sensors suddenly went haywire. "Sir," his sensor operator called out, panic evident in their voice. "We're detecting multiple unknown energy signatures launching from the surface." Before Vexthor could respond, the Phoenix Squadron appeared seemingly out of nowhere, their adaptive camouflage deactivating to reveal sleek vessels unlike anything the Dominion had encountered. Their design was alien yet distinctly human, beautiful and lethal in equal measure. "Impossible," Vexthor breathed, his scales paling. "Their technology is primitive. We've seen their fighters." Torres's voice broadcast across all frequencies. "You've seen what we wanted you to see, Admiral. Allow us to demonstrate what humanity is really capable of." The Phoenix Squadron moved with impossible grace, their quantum drives allowing maneuvers that defied conventional physics. As Dominion ships opened fire, their energy weapons passed harmlessly through empty space, the human vessels seemingly predicting their attacks before they happened. "The neural interfaces are performing perfectly," Sarah reported, watching the battle unfold through real-time data streams. "AI prediction algorithms are at 98% accuracy." The first real shock came when Phoenix 7 engaged a Dominion cruiser. Torres thought the command, and his craft's weapons responded instantly. Beams of concentrated plasma, refined and improved from salvaged Dominion technology, sliced through the alien vessel's shields like they weren't there. "Impossible." Vex Thor roared as the cruiser exploded. "Those weapons, they're based on our own technology. Improved upon," Torres corrected, his voice cold. "You'd be surprised what humans can do with a little inspiration and a lot of determination." The battle quickly turned into a rout. The Phoenix Squadron moved as one, their neural interfaces allowing unprecedented coordination. Where Dominion ships relied on computer systems and crew reactions, the human vessels acted on thought alone, their AI systems anticipating and executing complex maneuvers in microseconds. Sarah watched the tactical display with a mixture of pride and anxiety. Years of theoretical work was proving itself in combat, but the true test was still to come. The Dominion fleet was massive, and this was only their first wave. Multiple hyperspace signatures detected, a sensor operator announced. "Large Dominion fleet incoming." Rodriguez's expression hardened. "Well, they certainly took us seriously fast enough." "Dr. Chen, are the rest of the Phoenix units ready?" Sarah nodded, already mobilizing the second wave of pilots. "Yes, but we'll be revealing our full capabilities. They already know we're not as primitive as they thought," Rodriguez replied. "Time to show them exactly how much they underestimated us." As if to underscore her point, Torres's squadron executed a perfectly synchronized attack run that destroyed 3 more Dominion vessels. The neural interfaces were performing beyond expectations, allowing the pilots to react and coordinate at speeds no conventional system could match. Vex Thor watched his tactical display in growing horror as more human vessels rose from Earth's surface. His carefully planned invasion was falling apart, and worse, the humans weren't just fighting back, they were winning. "Send word to the High Command," he ordered, his voice shaking. "The humans, they're not what we thought they were." The battle for Earth was just beginning, but already the galaxy's balance of power had shifted. Humanity had revealed its true capabilities, and the Dominion was about to learn a harsh lesson about underestimating primitive species. The Dominion's reinforcements arrived in a cascade of hyperspace windows, their massive warships emerging into Earth orbit like dark stars. Sarah Chen's fingers flew across her control interface, analyzing the new threats. The enemy fleet was even larger than their intelligence had suggested. Over 300 capital ships, each bristling with weapons. "They're not taking any chances now," General Rodriguez observed grimly. On her tactical display, the Phoenix Squadron regrouped, their quantum drives leaving subtle ripples in spacetime that only their advanced sensors could detect. Captain Torres's voice came through clear and focused. "The neural interfaces are adapting to their attack patterns. Each engagement is improving our response time." His squadron had already destroyed 20 Dominion vessels without a single loss, but now they faced overwhelming numbers. In his flagship's command center, Admiral Vex Thor had abandoned his earlier arrogance. "Deploy the Void Hunters," he commanded, activating the Dominion's elite fighter squadrons. "And get me a full analysis of their technology. How did they advance so quickly without us noticing?" The space around Earth erupted into chaos as thousands of Dominion fighters engaged the Phoenix Squadron. But where traditional dogfights relied on physical skill and computer assistance, this was a battle of integrated minds. The neural interfaces allowed human pilots to react with literal thought speed, their craft's AI systems extending their consciousness into the machines. Multiple targeting solutions, Torres reported as his squadron engaged the Void Hunters. Their fighters are good, but they're still relying on conventional controls. We're operating several steps ahead of them. Sarah watched the data streams with growing confidence. The neural interfaces were performing beyond her most optimistic projections, allowing human pilots to process combat information at unprecedented speeds. Each Phoenix craft moved like an extension of its pilot's will, executing maneuvers that would be impossible with traditional controls. But the Dominion had numbers on their side. For every fighter they lost, 2 more took its place. The void around Earth filled with weapons fire, a deadly dance of plasma beams, and quantum-shifted attacks. They're trying to overwhelm us with numbers, Rodriguez noted, studying the tactical situation. Dr. Chen, it's time for Phase 2. Sarah nodded, entering a complex series of commands. Deep beneath the Earth's surface, more hangars opened. But these weren't launching more Phoenix fighters. Instead, massive cylindrical devices rose on quantum lifts, their surfaces crackling with contained energy. Quantum field generators online, Sarah announced, ready to initiate the planetary defense grid. This was humanity's true secret weapon. Technology so advanced that even the Dominion hadn't mastered it. The generators activated simultaneously, creating an interlocking network of quantum fields around Earth. Within these fields, the laws of physics could be selectively modified. Vexthor's sensors screamed warnings as the quantum fields activated. "What is this?" he demanded, watching as his ship's weapons suddenly became erratic, their energy beams bending and dispersing harmlessly against the invisible barrier. "A little something we developed. Tor is transmitted on all frequencies." Turns out, quantum mechanics is fascinating when you really dig into it. The Phoenix Squadron pressed their advantage. Within the quantum fields, their neural interfaces gave them perfect understanding of the altered physics. They moved through space like ghosts, their weapons precisely calibrated to the modified laws of reality. Dominion ships found themselves fighting an enemy that seemed to ignore basic physics. Their targeting computers couldn't compensate for the quantum distortions, while human pilots, guided by their neural interfaces and AI support, navigated the chaos with impossible precision. "Remarkable," Sarah murmured, watching the battle unfold. The neural interfaces are actually allowing the pilots to intuitively understand the quantum field effects. They're adapting faster than the simulations predicted. Rodriguez allowed herself a small smile. The Dominion thought they were dealing with primitive savages. Instead, they found out what happens when you give humans time to innovate. But victory wasn't assured yet. Despite their technological advantage, Earth's forces were still outnumbered. The Dominion fleet pressed their attack with desperate determination, trying to overwhelm the quantum fields through sheer firepower. Multiple breaches in Sectors 7 and 12, a sensor operator reported. They're learning to compensate for the field effects. Sarah's hands flew across her controls, adjusting the quantum field parameters. "They're smarter than we expected. But so are we." She activated a secure channel to the Phoenix Squadron. "New attack pattern uploaded to your neural interfaces. Time to show them something they've never seen before." The battle for Earth had entered its decisive phase, but neither side could predict how it would end. Humanity had revealed technological capabilities that shocked the galaxy, but the Dominion's vast fleet remained a deadly threat. The next few hours would determine not just Earth's fate, but the future balance of power among the stars. The quantum fields surrounding Earth rippled with energy as the battle reached its crescendo. Dr. Sarah Chen's latest attack pattern transformed the Phoenix Squadron into something unprecedented. A perfectly coordinated swarm of conscious machines and human minds working in absolute harmony. "Execute Pattern Omega," Torres commanded. His consciousness merged seamlessly with his craft through the neural interface. The entire squadron moved as one, their quantum drives bending space-time in ways that made Dominion targeting systems useless. Admiral Vexthor watched in growing horror as his fleet's formation began to crumble. "Impossible," he muttered, scales paling as another wave of his ships erupted into spatial fire. "Their level of coordination, it's beyond anything we've seen." The Phoenix Squadron had split into three-dimensional attack formations that ignored conventional space combat tactics. They moved through the quantum fields like sharks through water, their neural interfaces allowing them to perceive and exploit weaknesses in the Dominion fleet's defenses that no computer could calculate. Multiple Dominion capital ships breaking formation, Sarah reported, her eyes scanning streams of combat data. Their command and control structure is fragmenting. The neural interfaces are giving us a significant tactical advantage. We're operating faster than their chain of command can respond. General Rodriguez nodded grimly. Time to press our advantage. Activate the quantum cascade. This was the moment Sarah had both anticipated and dreaded. The quantum cascade was theoretical technology, developed from their understanding of the quantum fields, but never tested in actual combat. She entered the activation sequence, watching as new energy patterns rippled through the defensive grid around Earth. All Phoenix units, clear the engagement zone. Torres ordered. His squadron pulled back in perfect formation, their movements creating a complex pattern in the quantum fields. The Dominion fleet, still struggling to adapt to the humans' superior technology, didn't realize what was happening until it was too late. The quantum fields began to resonate, creating cascading waves of altered spacetime that rippled through their formation. By the first stars, Vex Thor breathed as he watched his ships begin to lose coherence. The quantum cascade was affecting the very fabric of space around his vessels, disrupting their structural integrity at the subatomic level. Your ships are designed for normal space, Sarah transmitted on all frequencies. They were never meant to operate in these conditions. Stand down, Admiral. Don't force us to demonstrate the full extent of our capabilities. But the Dominion's pride wouldn't allow surrender. Their remaining ships pressed forward, weapons firing desperately at targets they could barely track. The Phoenix Squadron danced through their salvos, retaliating with precisely calculated strikes that took advantage of the quantum distortions. Energy spike in the enemy flagship, a sensor operator called out. They're charging their main weapon array. Rodriguez's expression hardened. They're going to try to overwhelm the quantum fields with raw power. Dr. Chen, can our defenses hold? Sarah's fingers flew across her console, running calculations. The fields will hold, but the energy discharge could have devastating effects on nearby space. They're desperate enough to risk destroying themselves. All units, prepare for maximum disruption, Torres commanded. The Phoenix Squadron moved into a new formation, their neural interfaces allowing them to perfectly synchronize their quantum drives. Vex Thor's flagship unleashed its full power, a beam of concentrated energy that could shatter a small moon. But as it struck the quantum fields, something unexpected happened. The energy didn't dissipate or overwhelm the fields. It was caught, contained, and redirected. Pattern recognition complete, Sarah announced. The neural interfaces have adapted to their weapon signature. We can use their own energy against them. The Phoenix Squadron executed a maneuver that would have been impossible without their neural interfaces, creating a complex resonance pattern in the quantum fields. The redirected energy from Vex Thor's attack followed these patterns, splitting into dozens of smaller beams that struck precisely at the weakest points in the Dominion fleet's formation. Ships began to break apart as their atomic bonds weakened under the quantum strain. Those that tried to retreat found their engines failing as space itself seemed to turn against them. The mighty Dominion fleet, pride of the galaxy's greatest empire, was being systematically dismantled by technology they couldn't even understand. Final warning, Admiral, Rodriguez transmitted. Surrender now, or we will be forced to demonstrate the full power of human innovation. The battle hung in the balance as Vex Thor faced the most difficult decision of his career. His fleet was in ruins, his weapons useless, and his enemy had just revealed technological superiority beyond his worst nightmares. The fate of the Dominion's invasion force, and perhaps the Empire itself, rested on what he did next. Admiral Vex Thor stood rigid on his flagship's bridge, watching the remnants of his once mighty fleet drift powerless in Earth's orbit. The quantum fields had rendered his remaining ships virtually useless, their advanced technology reduced to little more than floating metal in space. "Your answer, Admiral." General Rodriguez's voice came through clear and unwavering. "The choice is yours, but choose quickly. Our patience, like your time, is running out." In the command center below Earth's surface, Dr. Sarah Chen monitored the quantum field fluctuations. The Phoenix Squadron maintained their formation, their neural interfaces allowing the pilots to hold perfectly steady despite the chaotic energy patterns surrounding them. "Their power signatures are unstable," Sarah reported. "The quantum cascade is affecting their core systems more severely than anticipated. If they don't power down soon, they risk catastrophic failure." Captain Torres's voice came through the neural interface network. "Multiple ships showing signs of structural degradation. The quantum effects are beginning to compound exponentially." Vexthor's scales had taken on an ashen color as he reviewed his options, or lack thereof. His mighty armada, the pride of the Dominion, had been systematically dismantled by technology he couldn't even comprehend. Worse, the humans had done it without losing a single vessel. "This is impossible," he muttered, more to himself than his bridge crew. "We are the Dominion. We have ruled the stars for 10,000 years. How could they have advanced so far without us knowing?" "Because you saw what you wanted to see," Sarah transmitted, her voice carrying the hint of pride. "You watched our public displays of outdated technology and assumed that was all we had. You never considered that we might be learning from every piece of alien technology that crashed on our planet, improving it, combining it with human innovation." The decision, when it came, was surprisingly quick. "To all Dominion vessels," Vexthor broadcast, "power down all weapons and defensive systems. Initiate emergency shutdown protocols." He switched to the human frequency. "General Rodriguez, on behalf of the Dominion fleet, I formally surrender." The quantum field stabilized as the Dominion ships powered down, their threatening presence reduced to harmless hulks floating in Earth's orbit. The Phoenix Squadron maintained their positions, neural interfaces humming with contained power. "A wise decision," Rodriguez responded. "Dr. Chen, begin power-down sequence for the quantum fields." Captain Torres, maintain defensive positions but stand down from combat status. Sarah initiated the shutdown sequence, watching as the complex energy patterns began to dissipate. "The neural interfaces are already adapting to the power-down procedure," she noted. "The synthesis between human consciousness and machine intelligence is proving more effective than we ever imagined." As the quantum effects faded, the true extent of humanity's victory became clear. The mighty Dominion fleet lay powerless in orbit, their advanced technology rendered useless by human innovation. But more importantly, the galaxy's balance of power had shifted irreversibly. "What happens now?" Vexthor asked, his voice subdued. Rodriguez's response was measured but firm. "Now, Admiral, we negotiate. Earth is no longer a primitive world to be conquered. We are a spacefaring civilization with technology that surpasses your own. The Dominion will need to adapt to this new reality." The Phoenix Squadron began their return flight, their quantum drives leaving subtle ripples in spacetime. As they descended through Earth's atmosphere, humanity stood at the threshold of a new era. They had not merely defeated an alien invasion, they had proven themselves capable of innovations that would reshape the galaxy. Sarah watched the final data streams from the battle, already thinking about improvements to the neural interface system. "This is just the beginning, isn't it?" she asked Rodriguez. The general nodded, looking at the tactical display showing the surrendered Dominion fleet. "The beginning of humanity's true emergence into the galaxy. They thought they were coming to conquer a primitive world. Instead, they introduced us to the stars. Above them, the quantum fields finally dissipated completely, revealing a sky filled with possibilities. Humanity had faced its first major galactic challenge and emerged victorious, not through brute force, but through innovation, determination, and the unique human ability to adapt and improve upon existing technologies. The stars, once seemingly out of reach, now beckoned with promise. The galaxy would never be the same, and neither would humanity.